You think the market is out to get you. You think institutions are hunting your stops. You think algorithms are designed to shake you out. And maybe that's all true. But none of that is why you're losing money. Your biggest enemy isn't the market. It's not volatility. It's not spreads or slippage or even bad luck. Your biggest enemy is sitting right there in your chair. And it's doing something so subtle, so automatic, so normalized that you don't even realize it's destroying your trading. It's revenge trading. Not the obvious kind where you blow up your account in one rage-fueled session. I'm talking about the sophisticated version, the one that hides behind making back losses and getting back to even. The one that sounds rational in your head but is pure emotion dressed up as strategy. Here's why this is so dangerous. Revenge trading doesn't feel like revenge when you're doing it. It feels like determination. It feels like persistence. It feels like what winners do. Let me tell you what's really happening in your trading right now. You took a loss, maybe two. You're down $300, maybe $500. And somewhere in your brain, a voice started talking. You can't end the day down this much. You need to make it back. You just need one good trade. So you start looking. But you're not looking for your setup anymore. You're looking for any setup that might get you back to even. That trade you'd normally skip, suddenly it looks pretty good. That time frame you don't usually trade, well, there's a setup there, so why not? You take the trade. It goes against you. Now you're down $800. And that voice gets louder. This is unacceptable. You need to fix this now. So you size up. You start taking trades you'd never take with a clear head. You're moving stops. You're breaking every rule. By the end of the session, you're down $2,000 or $3,000, or you've blown your account. But here's the thing. You do know better. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is that revenge trading hijacks your brain in a way that makes all your knowledge irrelevant. It's not a discipline problem. It's a neurological problem. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what revenge trading looks like in all its forms. The subtle versions you're doing right now without even realizing it. The ones that sound like good trading but are pure emotional decision-making. I'm going to break down why your brain literally cannot think clearly after losses, why trying harder makes it worse, and why the solution isn't more discipline, it's completely different. You'll see the early warning signs, the exact moment when you cross from normal trading into revenge mode, and most importantly, the exact framework that makes revenge trading structurally impossible. Because here's what you need to understand. Every successful trader you admire solved this problem. Not because they have better discipline than you, because they built systems that don't require discipline. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why you revenge trade, what's happening in your brain when you do it, and how to build a process where it simply cannot happen. Not won't happen, cannot happen. And once you eliminate this one habit, everything else gets easier. Your discipline improves, your consistency improves, your results improve. Not because you changed your strategy, because you stopped sabotaging yourself. Let's get into it. Let's start by defining what we're actually talking about. Because most traders think revenge trading is obvious. They think it's when you're visibly angry, smashing keyboards, yelling at your screen, rage entering trades. That's not revenge trading. That's just lack of emotional control. It's childish, yes, but it's also rare. Most traders never do that. Real revenge trading is much more insidious. It's the trades you take specifically because you lost money. Not because you see a good setup, not because your strategy says to enter, but because you're down and you need to make it back. Here's the key distinction. Are you taking this trade because it's a good opportunity, or are you taking it because you lost money and you need to recover? If it's the second one, that's revenge trading. Even if you've convinced yourself it's a good setup, even if you've rationalized it 6 different ways, if the primary motivation is recovering losses, it's revenge. And here's what makes it so dangerous. Revenge trading sounds completely rational when you explain it. I'm just trying to get back to even for the day. I know I can make this back. I just need one good trade. But they're not. They're emotional decision-making disguised as strategy. And your brain is very, very good at making emotional decisions sound logical. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you take a loss, because this is where most traders get it completely wrong. They think it's about discipline. It's not. It's about chemistry. When you take a loss, your brain releases cortisol. This is your stress hormone. It's the same chemical that floods your system when you're in physical danger. Your brain doesn't distinguish between financial loss and physical threat. Loss is loss. Threat is threat. Cortisol does several things to your brain. It shuts down your prefrontal cortex. That's the part that handles rational decision-making, planning, and impulse control. Simultaneously, it amplifies your amygdala. That's your emotional center, your fight or flight response. So what does this mean practically? It means that after a loss, you are literally less capable of making good decisions. Not metaphorically, literally. The part of your brain that makes good trading decisions is partially offline, and the part that makes emotional, reactive decisions is supercharged. And here's the really brutal part. You don't feel this happening. You feel normal. You feel like you're thinking clearly. Your internal experience is that you're being rational and strategic, but objectively, neurologically, your decision-making capacity is compromised. This is why just be more disciplined doesn't work. You're not fighting a discipline problem. You're fighting chemistry, and you can't willpower your way through chemistry. Here's how the revenge trading cycle actually plays out, and I want you to see if this sounds familiar. Stage 1, the initial loss. You take a trade, it doesn't work, you lose. Let's say $200. This isn't devastating. You've lost $200 before. You can handle it. But cortisol is already starting to rise. Stage 2, the rationalization. You tell yourself this is fine, just a normal loss, part of trading. But underneath, there's discomfort. You're down for the day. You don't like being down. Your brain starts looking for ways to fix it. Stage 3, the setup hunt. You start looking for the next trade, but you're not looking with the same criteria anymore. You're looking for something, anything that might get you back to even. Your selectivity drops. Trades that you'd normally pass on suddenly look viable. Stage 4, the revenge trade. You take a trade that you wouldn't have taken if you weren't down. Maybe it's not quite your setup. Maybe it's a different time frame. Maybe you're sizing up slightly. You tell yourself it's fine, it's a good trade, but deep down you know you're chasing. Stage 5, the compound loss. You take a trade that goes against you. Now you're down $400 or $500, and something shifts. The discomfort becomes urgency. You don't just want to get back to even, you need to, right now, today, this session. Stage 6, the spiral. You start taking trades rapidly. You're not even following your strategy anymore. You're just reacting. Each loss makes the next trade more desperate. You size up, you move stops, you ignore obvious warning signs. You're not trading, you're gambling. But it doesn't feel like gambling. It feels like trying to fix a problem. Stage 7, the blow-up. You're down $2,000 or $3,000, or your account is significantly damaged, and suddenly clarity returns. The fog lifts. You look at what you just did and you can't believe it. How did this happen? How did you let this happen? You know better than this. Stage 8, the promise. You promise yourself you'll never do this again. You're disgusted. You're angry at yourself. You swear this was the last time. You mean it. You really genuinely mean it. Stage 9, the repeat. 2 weeks later, it happens again. Different trades, different setups, same cycle, same result. Because you didn't solve the problem. You just felt bad about it and hoped willpower would be enough next time. This is the cycle. And if you've traded for more than a few months, you've probably lived this exact pattern. Maybe multiple times. Maybe just once, but it was enough. Now, let's talk about the revenge trading you're doing right now without realizing it. Because it's not always obvious. It doesn't always feel like revenge, but it is. Form 1. Making back losses. You're down $300 for the day. You tell yourself you're going to make it back before you stop trading. This sounds reasonable, but ask yourself, would you take this next trade if you were up $300? If the answer is no, it's revenge trading. Form 2. I can't end red. It's near the end of your session. You're down slightly. You wouldn't normally trade this late, but you can't stomach ending the day negative. So you take one more trade. That's revenge trading. Form 3. Getting back to even. You've taken 2 small losses. Your strategy says stop for the day, but you're down $150, and that feels unacceptable. So you take one more trying to get back to break even. That's revenge trading. Form 4. This one's different. You've taken 3 losses following your strategy. Instead of accepting that today isn't your day, you switch time frames or instruments looking for something that's working. You tell yourself you're being adaptive. You're not. You're chasing. That's revenge trading. Form 5. High conviction recovery. You take a loss. The next setup doesn't quite meet your criteria, but you really feel this one. You tell yourself it's high conviction, but be honest. Are you feeling conviction, or are you feeling the need to make back what you lost? That's revenge trading. All of these sound rational. All of these can be explained in ways that make sense, but they're all driven by the same thing, the emotional need to recover losses. And that need produces terrible trading decisions. Let's talk about what revenge trading actually costs you, because it's not just the money you lose in the session. That's the obvious cost. The real cost is much deeper. Cost 1, psychological damage. Every time you revenge trade and blow up, you damage your confidence. You prove to yourself that you can't trust yourself, that you can't follow your rules under pressure, that you'll always crack eventually. This accumulated psychological damage is what makes traders quit. Cost 2, pattern reinforcement. Every time you complete the revenge trading cycle, you strengthen the neural pathway. You teach your brain that this is what you do after losses. You make the pattern more automatic, harder to break, more likely to happen again. Cost 3, strategy corruption. Revenge trading forces you to take trades outside your strategy. This creates noise in your data. You can't accurately assess your edge because your results include trades you shouldn't have taken. Your journal becomes meaningless. You lose the ability to improve. Cost 4, time. Think about how much time you've spent recovering from revenge trading sessions. Not just the money, the time. Days or weeks of progress erased in hours. Months of consistent trading destroyed in one bad afternoon. Time you can never get back. Cost 5, opportunity. While you're revenge trading, while you're in the emotional spiral, you're missing real opportunities. You're too tilted to see good setups, too desperate to be selective. The best trades pass you by because you're in survival mode trying to recover from mistakes. Here's what most traders do when they recognize they have a revenge trading problem. They try to be more disciplined. They tell themselves to be stronger, to have more willpower, to just not do it next time. And it doesn't work. It never works. Here's why. Discipline is a finite resource. Your brain has a limited capacity for self-control. Every decision you make, every temptation you resist, every impulse you override, it drains this resource. By the time you've taken 2 or 3 losses, your discipline is depleted. You're running on fumes. And that's when revenge trading happens, when discipline is exhausted, when your prefrontal cortex is offline from cortisol, when your emotional brain is screaming to make back the losses. Asking yourself to just be more disciplined in that moment is like asking someone who's been awake for 48 hours to just be more alert. The biological capacity isn't there. The neural resources are depleted. Willpower can't bridge that gap. This is why traders get stuck in the cycle. They blame themselves for lacking discipline. They promise to be better next time. But next time, they're in the same neurological state.
Same depleted resources, same compromised decision-making, same result. You can't discipline your way out of this. You need structure. You need rules that don't require discipline to follow. You need a system that makes revenge trading impossible, not just unlikely. Let's talk about how to catch yourself before you enter the revenge trading spiral, because there are warning signs, specific moments where you can intervene, but you have to know what to look for. Warning sign 1, urgency. You feel like you need to trade right now. You need to make back losses immediately. This urgency is the first red flag. Good trading never feels urgent. Warning sign 2, justification. You're explaining to yourself why this trade is good. Not analyzing, explaining, justifying. When you have to convince yourself, you're probably wrong. Warning sign 3, flexibility. Your criteria are suddenly more flexible. That trade you'd normally skip? It looks pretty good, actually. That time frame you don't trade? Well, maybe just this once. Flexibility when you're down is a massive red flag. Warning sign 4, focusing on P&L. You're looking at your account balance more than your charts. You're calculating how much you need to make back. You're thinking about ending the day green. When your focus shifts from setups to P&L, you're in danger. Warning sign 5, physical tension. Your jaw is clenched. Your shoulders are tight. You're sitting forward. Your breath is shallow. Your body knows you're stressed, even if your conscious mind doesn't. Warning sign 6, time pressure. You feel like you're running out of time. Session's almost over, day's almost done. You need to make this back before time runs out. This time pressure is pure emotion. The market will be here tomorrow. If you catch any of these signs, you stop immediately. You don't take the next trade. You don't finish the session. You walk away. Because once you cross the line into revenge trading, you can't think your way back out. Now, let's talk about the solution. Not the try harder solution, the structural solution that makes revenge trading impossible. Rule 1, maximum loss per day. You have a hard stop. If you lose X dollars in a day, you're done. No exceptions. No one more trade. No I can make it back. Done. Flat. Computer off. The number should be small enough that hitting it doesn't feel catastrophic. Rule 2, maximum number of losses. 3 losses in a row, you're done for the day. 5 losses total, done. Whatever your number is, it's non-negotiable. You hit it, you stop. This removes the decision-making. You don't have to use discipline. The rule makes the decision for you. Rule 3, mandatory break after losses. After every loss, you take a 15-minute break, minimum. You get up, you move, you do something else. You let cortisol clear. You let your prefrontal cortex come back online. You don't trade through losses. You process them first. Rule 4, no trading while negative. If you're down for the day, you can't size up. You can't trade different time frames. You can't chase. You either trade normally or you don't trade at all. This prevents all the subtle forms of revenge trading. Rule 5, predefined trading hours. You trade specific hours. When those hours are up, you stop. Even if you're down, even if you want one more trade, even if there's a perfect setup right there. Time's up, you're done. This removes the temptation to extend sessions to make back losses. Rule 6, position limits when down. If you're in a drawdown for the week or month, you reduce size. You don't increase it. This is counterintuitive. Your brain wants to size up to make it back faster. The rule forces you to do the opposite. These aren't suggestions. They're rules. They don't require willpower. They don't require discipline. They just require following the structure you built when you were calm and rational.
Let me tell you about a trader I'll call Jake. He'd been trading for 2 years. Decent strategy, good win rate, but every month he'd have 1 or 2 catastrophic days that wiped out weeks of progress. Revenge trading, every single time. He'd start the day fine, take a loss, then another. Then he'd spend the next 4 hours trying to make it back. By end of day, he'd be down $3,000 or $4,000. He'd promise himself he'd never do it again. 2 weeks later, same thing. He was ready to quit, thought he just didn't have what it takes, thought he was fundamentally too emotional for trading. Then he implemented one simple rule. 3 losses, done for the day. That's it. No analysis, no judgment, 3 losses, computer off. First week, he hit 3 losses on Tuesday. He was down $300. He wanted to keep trading. He was sure he could make it back, but the rule said stop, so he stopped. It felt terrible, felt like quitting, felt like giving up. But he didn't have a catastrophic day. He was just down $300, which he made back easily over the next few days. 6 months later, he hadn't had a single revenge trading session. Not because his discipline improved, because the rule made it structurally impossible. He couldn't revenge trade if he wasn't allowed to trade. His monthly returns went from wildly volatile to consistently positive. Same strategy, same skill level, different structure. That's all it took. Here's the final piece. You need to shift how you think about losing days. Most traders think losing days are failures, days that need to be fixed, problems that need solutions. This mindset creates revenge trading. Because if a losing day is a failure, then you're failing and you need to unfail, which means making back losses. But losing days aren't failures. They're data. They're part of the process. They're expected. If your win rate is 50%, you're supposed to have losing days. That's not a problem. That's statistics. The identity shift is this. You're not trying to win every day. You're trying to execute your process consistently. Some days that process results in profit. Some days it results in loss. Both are fine. Both are part of the same system that makes you money over time. When you truly internalize this, revenge trading becomes unnecessary because there's nothing to revenge. There's no failure to fix. There's just execution. Sometimes execution produces winners. Sometimes it produces losers. You don't need to make back losses because losses aren't problems that need fixing. This sounds simple. It's not. It requires fundamentally changing how you think about what you're doing when you trade. But this identity shift, this mental reframe, is what finally allows traders to break free. Your biggest trading enemy isn't the market. It's not manipulation. It's not bad luck. It's not even your lack of discipline. It's revenge trading. This habit, this pattern, this automatic response that feels like determination, but is actually self-destruction. Every time you revenge trade, you hurt yourself. You damage your account. You erode your confidence. You reinforce the pattern. You make it more likely to happen again. And you waste time you can never get back. But here's the good news. This is solvable. Not through discipline, not through trying harder, through structure, through rules, through building a system that doesn't allow revenge trading to happen. The traders making consistent money aren't more disciplined than you. They're not mentally stronger than you. They just built better systems. Systems that protect them from themselves. Systems that make revenge trading impossible. You can do the same, today, right now. Build the structure, implement the rules, and watch as your biggest enemy simply stops existing. That's how you win. Not by fighting harder, by fighting smarter, by making the fight unnecessary.